So, friends, I want to thank Archbishop Melissa Skelton for her time today. She's the 9th Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of New Westminster, a diocese of the Anglican Church in Canada, and is the 12th Metropolitan of the Ecclesiastical Province of British Columbia and Yukon. She was the first woman to be elected a Metropolitan and Archbishop in the Anglican Church of Canada. She's a member of the board at the Vancouver School of Theology, and even more than that, she's a friend. Welcome, Archbishop Melissa.
Wonderful to be with you.
I've asked the Archbishop if she would reflect with me today on the impact, negative and positive, of COVID-19 on the churches over which for which she has responsibility and care. So the question I wanted to ask to begin with is, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities for the churches that have arisen as a result of COVID-19?
A great and big question. So, I guess I'll start with challenges. And again, thanks, Richard, for being interested in recording this and having this, what I hope will be a dialogue.
Indeed.
I guess the challenges, of course, the big challenge is that it asked us to change and to change on a dime, or to change quickly. And of course, our particular ecclesiastical tradition is not known for that. We are known for the deep roots of heritage, but not always for the way in which we translate that into a new way, in a new context. And of course, this was a brand new context for us. And so the big challenge was to do that, and to do it quickly, and to do it perhaps without all the requisite skills and needed to do it. And I think, of course, the challenge is that it took away from us something right at the center of our way of understanding what the church and what God is all about, that is tangible, in-person relationships and ways of gathering together as a community. And so when that gets taken away, and when you're asked to figure out what you will do in the absence of that, it's a very big challenge indeed. And the opportunity was to meet that challenge. And, for all the moaning and worry and continuing worry about this issue, both of these things, I look at what many of our parish churches and their leaders did, and I marvel. It does say something about, assisted by the Spirit, what we're able to do quickly, and what skills we're able to acquire overnight, in fact. So I think the opportunity was to see that we could. And I in a couple of meetings, I said, Anglicans can dance. And by that, I mean they can move with their partner, who I believe is the Spirit. I believe that with all my heart. Mm-hmm. And who brings along, and the dance floor or the music is scary, has been scary, and with different rhythms and asking us to do many different things, but we can, for the most part, follow the lead of that dance partner that asks us to do new things. Mm-hmm. And then it's helped us understand a broader kind of gathering and ways to be related that we had not ever really fully tapped into, and to understand that there are even more people perhaps who might want to be connected. I'm not so sure we know who those people are. We do count them, but we don't know who they are, that are hungering for the same kinds of things we're hungry for in terms of being together and praying.
Is there a story that you have of somewhere where it went particularly well, something that was sort of delightfully surprising?
Let's see. Well, because I've been priest in charge at the cathedral, our Christchurch Cathedral downtown, that has become my most direct kind of experience. The others are secondhand in the way that we hear from leaders at secondhand. I should say about that, some of our smaller parishes that jumped into action right away, even before they had the technological skills, but used something that we still know a little bit about.
Yes.
to connect their people, to create a kind of pastoral network. Some of those are some of the most delightful stories we have, I think.
Yeah.
That smaller communities that could get really organized really fast were able to do that immediately, and to buy a little time for them to learn Zoom or learn
Yes.
a Facebook Live, and then began broadcasting.
Mm.
In terms of our cathedral, you see a little of both. I think because of their location in downtown Vancouver, and the way that kind of went dark overnight,
Yes.
it dealt them a bit of a blow, to tell you the truth. And the degree to which many things were shut down all at the same time, not just worship, but programs related to food security in downtown Vancouver, that they took a bit of a blow. And to see them as they tried to kind of recover from that,
Yes.
begin to record and now begin to ready themselves for live streaming, begin to get they themselves in a large religious system for us to be able to do the pastoral calling and understand where people are, has really been inspiring. Sometimes the bigger the staff, actually the more difficult it is to get organized, and to see them and to be through the past 8 weeks with them as they kind of recovered and began moving out and reestablishing their Monte Cafe, upgrading the way that the worship was coming across, instituting new groups. That's been raised money. That's been inspiring.
Oh, good. One of the things I found at the school was, because of all the changes, careful and consistent communication was important. And I think that's one of the things I'll take with me, is the importance of communication to as broad a constituent as you can, and written communication, because it gives the particulars of things. We actually found increased involvement in the school because of that. Did you find some of that as well?
Absolutely. And I can't say how much I agree, because I agree so vociferously with you about the issue of communication. And here I'm thinking about it now from the diocesan office.
Yes.
Specifics around where we are, what's going to happen, why, and people just kind of coming alongside you. A friend of mine who's a parish priest up in Calgary said that her leadership style was benevolent dictator, and now it finally is coming into focus. Yes. Not just around saying this is how it is, but saying this is what we need to do at this time.
Yes.
In ways that had to go rather quickly to that, and that she found kind of ready partners and people who wanted to collaborate with her in a new way, because she was able to say to be more declarative about her view of things, what was going on in the city. That's a whole other thing about the crossing, the shutdown of the border, and what's happening in Calgary related to that, and then what they would do to safeguard the safety of their people.
Yeah, I found that other people who sort of share management or administrative responsibilities with me, I needed to communicate. We really needed to lead together, because no one person had all the information, but as someone who kind of coordinated that information, not only was I able to tell others what was going on, but I was able to have reliable information, and to know myself everything that's going on. You don't know every detail, but I think I know more about how the school runs now than I ever did. So
I completely agree with you about that. It is amazing what you see in a kind of crisis or under stress about how the organization actually works, where it needs attention, where it's actually equipped to deal with this, and it's been an amazing revelation.
So what do you expect that will be some of the lingering changes? Some things we've had to change for a time. I think we all hope that church won't always be online. It might be added to what we do. Maybe that will go back when the coast is clear. But what changes have taken place that you suspect might be more longer term?
Well, I do think the parish churches that are able to learn from this experience will understand that they are always serving the needs of people who are right before us, who come and are physically gathered, and people who are not able to do that, do not want to do that, that there's a broader constituency, and we're serving both of those. I see that as, so in our phased reopening plan in the diocese, phase 4, which some might call back to normal, I call it, full engagement and new learning. Yes. With the new learning. And if we don't learn some important things from this, that will be, shame on us. So I think that's one that people are talking about. The question is, will people invest in it? Will people keep that consciousness even after perhaps we have a vaccine or things return to normal? And then many people are saying, well, 1 in whatever, pick the number of churches is going to close related to this. This is not my way I operate. I mean, it's fine for people to have the predictions and things like that, but I prefer to think we may find that some things shift. Yes. In my 6 years, we've not closed a congregation yet, and I hope I'm able to keep that record in my last year. And it might be that we'll just find that some leaders are not going to be suitable for the changed churches they find themselves in. And I just feel quite confident we're going to have the well-trained, optimistic, hopeful people who see that when things may fall apart a bit on one level, that they're able to make some new things out of those pieces.
I mean, my experience with some people, I didn't know what good leaders they were until they let out that they're remarkably sort of adaptive and innovative, and they see opportunity where others only see trouble. In some ways, it's called the best of the leadership abilities out of people who are never interested in managing the status quo.
No, exactly, and I do think that has implications for theological education and the kind of way we articulate what a leader who is equipped for the world today and the church of the world today is all about, because it's not just about it would be great to have the technical skills, and I love the idea of perhaps offering that in our curriculum at PSD. Yes. And there is a whole thing about, you use the word adaptive, I would say flexible, nimble, whatever, who understand that that's really at the heart of ministry anyway, that there's no longer a kind of platform you stand on and it's staying still. Actually, it never was there. And that, so how you respond to the what you might perceive as an inconvenience or as a catastrophe or as a huge opportunity, how you respond to that and how you figure out each of your moves as that shifts is key to leading in a faithful way, I think, and with the Spirit. And because I think that is the way Spirit works to lead in a congregational setting.
Thank you. And so we're verging on this, but theological educators, of course, are not completely, but we're responsible for, if a student does an MDiv in 3 years, we have 3 years to do a kind of concentrated education and formation to really prepare people for the kind of world that we've got with the kind of God that we have. And so what do you think theological educators should take on board as a result of this pandemic that has produced immense sea change in how we congregate, how we relate, how we do ministry?
It's just so tough because I've been a long believer in that there needs to be a stream throughout the 3 years. I know this is an impossible thing. There needs to be a stream throughout the 3 years that's looking at specifically the role of leadership. And it should be, and the skills of leadership. So even though many people in theological, particularly in an MDiv track, they're just kind of starting out and maybe they haven't been in charge of a congregation. And there are many reasons to give for why you can't do this. I know because I've pitched this before. But there needs to be, both a biblical and traditional in the best sense of the word basis for it. Equipping with skills, some kind of pragmatic application. And that just needs to be a consistent thing, I would say, throughout 3 years. Some might say, oh my gosh, that's maybe for the middle year or the last year. I just think we need to be much more diligent and expect more around the formation of the church's leaders in this regard.
Oh, that's, you're speaking to my heart. I think that's right. And that's one of the reasons that I was talking about how, adversity does tell you so much about a person. When everything's going well, and it's sort of easy to articulate a vision for how things would be if the world all went well. But it's when things go slightly sideways. And
yes.
I think now that the church has become, now that we've become missionaries to the culture we thought we owned, that's a different skill set that is now required.
That's right.
Different modes of engagement. And one of those, of course, is technology. I think we'll probably see the greater deployment, or at least the more competent deployment of technology where we use it as a result of this. Do you think so?
Oh, I absolutely do. And my hope is we will also see a higher quality. So the aesthetics mean a lot to me, and not to everybody, but in an Anglican tradition, the aesthetics are part of what brings us into the presence of God. And so I think we got to competently do it, and we've got to think about, how might we have as beautiful an experience as we can in relationship to each other and God.
Oh, thank you very much. That's a great note. The beauty of God is, that's just utterly felicitous. Thank you. Well, thank you for spending this time today, Archbishop Melissa. It's just been a pleasure.
As always with you.